So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Aaron, it's nice to have you here.
My pleasure.
Yeah, today we'll be talking about trial conversion and how to improve it with the right onboarding flow. And I took a sneak peek at what Aaron is going to be talking about today, and I'm excited to learn from him. I hope you guys are as well. I know you guys are because I saw on LinkedIn in the comments that even people from New Zealand will be joining us, which is at 4:30 a.m. So that's quite a commitment. Yeah, but before I ask Aaron to take over, let me just add real quick that we'll be having a Q&A session afterwards. And also I will be sharing a small surprise, a small announcement at the end. So make sure to stick around for that because I think you'll find it really, really interesting. Yeah, so are you ready to take over, Aaron?
I'm ready.
Yeah, okay, so let's start.
Sweet. Welcome everyone to this first ever Woodpecker webinar workshop. I'm so excited. I'm honored to be here in front of all of you. If you could do me a favor, can you all post where you're at right now and what time it is? When I'm kind of needy, so it really helps for me to be able to see comments and questions in the chat. Like if you love something, if you're excited about something that I share, you get an aha shared in the chat. It really helps me, and it's going to make the presentation much more enjoyable for you guys too. Thank you, Eloy. Cool guitar. Yep. I was just telling Sandra I play it once a year. Los Angeles, fantastic. Serbia, awesome. Poland, Philippines, Lithuania, Portugal, awesome, cool. Great. Hungary, dude, welcome all of you. I'm so excited to have you here. So I'm going to share my screen, and New Jersey, sweet. Okay, and how many of you have a SaaS product? And how many of you have a SaaS product that you would like to increase your conversions for? Or maybe I should ask the question, how many of you are happy with your conversions and you don't want them to go up anymore? Most of you probably are excited. All right, sweet. And put your SaaS in the chat too. I wanna. It's fun to be able to, for all the attendees to see what everyone is working on. If you're comfortable with that, just put your SaaS URL in there. I'm gonna pick some at random too. Cool. All right, can you guys see my screen? Yes. All right. I'm going to present. I'm super excited today. This is a presentation. This is a culmination of many years of work, testing, building, creating onboarding sequences for dozens of SaaS companies, and I've condensed it all into this little workshop that I hope will give you some insight and direction on how to increase your conversions for your SaaS product. Okay, even if you don't like writing email, if you're not a marketer, and you're going to walk away with some really clear stuff. So how I discovered this. So I've built and designed dozens of onboarding sequences, and I've analyzed hundreds of SaaS companies. I have a group on Facebook called SaaS Growth Hacks, and it has 20,000 SaaS founders in it. And so I have a lot of experience talking. I've talked with hundreds and hundreds of SaaS companies, and I'm going to take all of this knowledge together and I'm going to share it with you today. Some of the stuff that I did initially when I was building out these processes worked. Some of it failed really bad. And I took what I worked on, I worked on it, and I improved it. 5 years later, we were able to double conversions in some cases because of what I'm about to show you today. Okay. All right. Here's what you're going to get if you stick around to the end. I'm going to show you and teach you the onboarding principles that are going to govern how you build your onboarding process, okay? And these are the things that you can apply to your own onboarding, because not everyone's onboarding is going to be the same. And that's one thing we learned really quickly, was what worked for one company doesn't necessarily work for another company. And so even if it's the same market, if it's the same type of tool, things work differently. I'm going to teach you the principles, and then I'm going to give you some, show you the map, how to map out your onboarding. So you have an onboarding mapped out in a way that's easy for your dev team to implement. It's not super, super confusing. What emails to send, when to send them. I'm going to show you how to write the emails, give you examples of each type of email. I'm going to show you how to use in-app onboarding tools correctly. A couple of frameworks and templates, and then a step-by-step guide. I'm gonna give you a lot of good stuff today. At the end of this presentation, you're gonna walk away with at least 2 to 3 actionable pieces of information that you can use to improve your conversions. Cool, is that okay, everybody? All right, can I get a heck yeah in the chat? All right, sweet. So the secret keys, I'm gonna go through, first of all, I'm gonna go through some of these really important keys that are necessary for you to have success with onboarding, okay? These are the secret keys to building a high converting, scalable onboarding process. So first of all, number one, there's this myth going around that in every product, there's some magical moment where a user suddenly realizes that like, this is the product for me. And the term aha moment has been thrown around a lot. The story of Facebook, after you follow 6 friends, that's the magical aha moment where a user is activated. And here's the truth, is that might be the case with some tools. The majority of tools, it's not one moment, it's a series of magical moments, a cascading series of little mini ahas that push people over the edge, okay? And I love the dating analogy because it applies so well here. When you are on a date, it's usually only after a multiple times being with that person that you see that they're the right one, okay? First dates are sometimes go terribly wrong on the first date, and then the subsequent date ends up going really, really well. And sometimes the first date goes really well, and the subsequent dates just get better and better and better, okay? So it's a culmination of these small things that let you know that, in this case, this SaaS and this person is the one. And there are love at first sight moments where you just log in, you're like, this is exactly what I need, but they're very, very rare, okay? So when we create onboarding processes, we try to figure out what are the moments of value in a tool, not what is the aha moment. What are the things that a customer needs to do, experience, and see during the onboarding process to continue to build value in the product, okay? And sometimes, a lot of times, it's not having them do a bunch of stuff, it's getting them to see what's possible or see the light at the end of the tunnel, or what's possible with the tool, okay? Because what they may not, most of the time, they're not going to get to their desired outcome during the trial. They're going to see the potential of the tool. And so you want to really build the potential during the onboarding, okay? Does that make sense? So find your moments of value. What are those little mini magical moments? All right, so somebody just signed up for your SaaS product, right? There's 2 types of onboarding that I look at. One is internal and the other is external. Internal is everything that happens inside the app, okay? External is everything that happens outside the app. So that includes emails, phone calls, if you have phone calls, whatever, everything that happens outside. The most important part of onboarding is when the moment the user gets into the app and logs in. Like, that is the first impression. That is where you have a chance to make sure the customer has success, that they understand what they need to do next. And here's what most people do with product tours is they handcuff you and they walk you through the tool like a prison guard, walking you to your cell. You're forced to go through this annoying tour that you didn't ask for. It's almost insulting. Like, I can find my way around your product. Thank you very much. Right? That's what most of us think. Now that might not be the case, but you're forcing someone, putting the handcuffs on, you're forcing them through your product. And at the end of that experience, how do you think they feel being forced around a product? The first interaction they have with you is feeling like you're being led into a jail cell, right? It's not a very good experience. So, and how many of you ever felt like that? When you logged into a product, you felt like you were being led through the putting handcuffs on and led through the tool. Yeah, and it creates a really terrible first impression, and it's for 99% of products, it doesn't make any sense. Unless it's a totally new product, this is someone who your market has no experience with tools or internet, and you have to kind of explain, all right, this is a search bar, like that. People are pretty familiar with things now. It's not like it was 10 years ago where you had to explain, okay, this is where you search in Google, like people know, right? So, and in mobile apps too, it works really well to have a tour, because every mobile app is totally different, right? Most SaaS products have kind of like a theme, right? So in most cases, it's like handcuffing your user to forcing them to look at everything. So instead of being a prison guard, be a Sherpa. So what does a Sherpa do? A Sherpa has been up and down the mountain 100 times. They know where to step and they know where not to step. They know what paths to avoid. They know the quickest path to the top of the mountain. They know what's great for beginners. They know what's great for advanced users, but they don't force you to do anything. You tell the Sherpa, hey, I want to go up this mountain. I'm a beginning user. I haven't hiked something like this before. Help me get there. And the Sherpa will guide you there after they figure out what kind of experience it is that you want. Okay, is this making sense? So instead of being a prison guard and forcing them through, help them find what they need to in the product based on where they're at. And so the key here is you want to guide them, don't force them through the product. This is so important. I'm going to show you some examples of this. Is that going to be helpful? Examples of what it's like to guide, don't force. I'm sure you've seen prison guard examples of onboarding. I'm not going to show you any of those because those are very prevalent. I'm going to show you some examples of how to guide, okay? So here's a really good example. One thing that we love is checklists. Checklists are great. Getting started checklists are great because they're non-intrusive and they show customers, prospects, what they need to do to have success. And it's clearly laid out in a plan. They know exactly what they need to do. We've been up and down this mountain before. We know that if you do these 5 things, if you take these 5 paths, you're going to get to the top of the mountain. When you're ready, we don't have to stop. I'm not going to force you to do it, but when you're ready, we can walk down this path together and I'll show you how to do it. Now, in an ideal world, I'll take a step back, put my my consulting hat on. In an ideal world, you wouldn't really need a checklist. Your product would just be intuitive enough so that users know exactly what they need to do. Checklists, walkthroughs, and tours, those are kind of band-aids to fix the underlying problem, which is a non-intuitive UI and UX. And most of us as developers and techie people, we don't have the mind of like what makes a really, really good UX UI design, right? And that's okay. That's all right. This is something to help you get there faster. My advice is to create an internal experience that's so easy and intuitive for people to know that they just figure it out. Like Apple's a really good example of that. A 2-year-old can pick up an iPad and figure out quickly how to do it, how to actually just use the app, right, or use the tool. So if you don't have that, if you don't have the benefit of having an expert UX UI team, this is a really good way to fix that without having to redo that. The tool I'm using for this is Get User Flow. I don't have a stake in that company. I don't even know the owner. I just know it's a really good tool. Okay. But as you can see here, you have getting started with Daily Connect. And here's what you need to do. Download the mobile application. When you click on, let me show you another one too, because this one is really simple. If you click on download the mobile application, it just takes you to the page where it says download the mobile application. Like, you really don't need to even think about what to do. You could have one hand and, you know, like in a stupor, and all you need to do is just click on each one of those things, and by the time you get through, your account will be set up. Now, you still need to actually go in and actually do things, but this eliminates 90% of all the frustration that I have of what do I need to do in order to have success with the product. Cool. Here's another example. Get started with Alfred, 25% all the way through. Here's what happens when I click on authorize LinkedIn account. Boom. What's your LinkedIn login? Please enter your LinkedIn credentials. How much easier could that be? I mean, literally one click, email, password, save. Then I've connected my LinkedIn account. That's it for this tool. That's where the magic happens. When I've connected my LinkedIn, then I connect all this data, and then now Alfred, that's the name of this company, is Meet Alfred. They can start sending out notifications like, hey, your data is uploaded. You know, hey, we made these connections for you. Hey, here's how to start your next campaign, blah, blah, blah. So this is really important. Okay, I'm not going to spend more time on this because some of you already get it, and some of you are having aha moments, hopefully. Okay, all right. You won't know exactly what gets a user to convert right away. As entrepreneurs, we have the feeling, this idea that we need to know everything from the start. We need to know our users, what's going to make them successful. And the honest truth is, it doesn't matter how smart we are, we really don't know until we just watch them use the tool. And that's okay. So you come up with a hypothesis, right? And then you can verify if it's true or not. This is where you put your science goggles on. And it's okay for you to say, I don't know what makes my users convert. I don't know what they need to do to have success with the product. We have an idea, but we don't really know. So you come up with what I call an onboarding or a value hypothesis. And you figure out, you decide, here's the hypothesis. We think they need to do this, 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 and this, okay? And then you make a list of the triggers you're gonna need to track or prove or disprove it. So something like inner trends or mixed panel, where it tracks all of this stuff for you and it says, okay, out of the 100 users that signed up for your tool, these are the 6 actions that they took that had the highest chance of them converting. If they take these 6 actions, there's the highest chance of them converting. So that way you can just take the data and then you track them. Here's some tools to use for that. Inner trends is my #1 choice, mixed panel amplitude. Remember, it's okay not to know, but you should be tracking these things. If you don't know, you need to be working on that, okay? All right, I'm gonna pause for a second. What has been most helpful for you so far? Can you just put in the chat what's been most helpful for you? Any aha moments, big takeaways so far? Awesome, yeah, guiding, good. It's awesome, Sean. Cool. All right. So what makes great onboarding then? First of all, you have to help them functionally complete the product. So here's a good example. I'm a booking tool, right? I can get a hotel booking, or I can set up my form and everything so that it's perfect. But if I don't have anybody booking hotel rooms, then I'm not going to actually see the value of the product. The functional completion of the product is one part of it. Getting them to experience the value is a lot of times out of your control, and that's frustrating, right? So we need to get them the motivation and help them fill in success gaps, and I'll show you that in a second. So we need to support them when we need it. We introduce your NEDs. Your NEDs are what's new, exciting, and different about your offer during the onboarding process. And then what is the ideal experience for your customers? If they're paying $9 a month, they probably don't expect weekly onboarding calls and one-on-one calls and a dedicated support rep. If they're paying $10,000 a month, they probably expect that. So what isn't the ideal onboarding experience for your user, and how do you make that an incredible experience for them? And remember, onboarding doesn't stop after the conversion. Onboarding just gets them to convert to a paying user. Now you need to retain them, right? So there's other stuff that we need to, I call it a retention sequence, which is what are the things that they need to know about after they've paid to get them to stick with the product. And a lot of that is new features they haven't experienced yet. And you can track that with triggers, right? If day 7 comes along and they haven't done uploaded their logo or whatever it is that you need to do that they need to do to have success, you can say, hey, it's time for you to upload your logo. Here's why this is important, and here's what the impact it's going to have on your business, right? So that's all retention. So remember, the functional completion of the product does not equal the desired result. Here's a little something to help you kind of understand this. So they are currently in a place where they want to escape from a hell that they're in and arrive to a heaven. The desired result is where they want to go. Yeah, that's why they bought your product. They don't buy the product because of the functional completion of the product, what a product functionally does. They buy it for the outcome. And so if you're, let's say your tool helps lay out a menu, what they really want is they want the perfect menu. And so that means there's a bunch of other success gaps. These are the things that they need to do in order to get to their ideal perfect menu, right? So even though your tool helps them lay out a menu that's perfect, they still need to have a list of all the wines. They still need to be able to label each dish. They need to print the menu. They need to get the menu approved by the executive team or whatever. This is all part of, indirectly, it's all part of getting your customer to have success. Onboarding is more than just getting them to functionally complete the product. It's to get them to have success, the success that they want, and to get them to where they want to go. Your tool is one part of that process, okay? Does that make sense, guys? So if you think about your product, you think, what is the functional completion? All right, awesome. What else do they need to do to get to their desired result? Which in this case, it could be anything. It could be more hotel bookings. It could be more streamlined HR department. What are the things all the other things they need to do? And those are things that you can fill by providing content, articles, blogs, webinars, workshops. The more of those success gaps that you can fill, the more success they're going to have with your product. And the longer they're going to stay with you because you've helped them achieve their desired outcome. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about some frameworks. This is the framework that we use for building what I call the path of first value. I'm not going to go into detail on this. I'm going to send this to you. So you have a copy. This is a Trello board that you can use to build this out. Just answer these questions. This is going to help you map it out. This is an example of mapping out your onboarding process. And this is helpful for you to be able to see what your user has to do in order to get to success of the product. And so you say, what are the, we haven't talked about success milestones, but these are essentially the steps, the 5 to 7 things they need to do in order to get value from the product or see the value. And mapping it out like this shows you, oh, wow, like creating a new page, that takes us 9 steps to do that. And sometimes you don't realize how long it takes for a user to go through that. How can we shorten this process so they can create a page faster? Looking at, this is a good example because updating your profile is really like one step, right? Choose your app is one step. Create a canned response, that's quick. But this allows you to kind of see what your onboarding process looks like from a wider perspective, okay? I love this strategy. I will go into my competitors and other companies that are not even related, and I'll map out their entire onboarding process, step by step, what they have created to onboard their customers. And then what I do is I take the stuff that I love the most and I Frankenstein it together and I build out an onboarding process. This is a really good way to start. If you have no idea how to build your onboarding and you're totally, completely stuck, there's no reason to invent it from scratch. These companies have spent, trust me, lots of money testing what works and what doesn't. So find the best stuff that you really like, go in, come up with a hypothesis, test it. If it doesn't work, here's a really good example. We were working with a company and we thought that when they signed up, if we got them to create a sequence, connect their LinkedIn account, and launch their campaign before they even got into the product, then they would have more success. And so the onboarding was, first of all, connect your LinkedIn account. Second, create a few canned responses. Third, who do you want to reach out to? You got to pick the markets you wanted to reach out to. And then the fourth step was launch the campaign. And conversions like sunk totally. Nobody was going, like very few people were going through that onboarding process. We thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. We're trying to get them to have success. So instead, we made the sign up process super easy. It was just name and email and they were dropped into the account. And then we had a checklist. Boom. Conversions increased from sign up to getting into the account, which may not sound like a big deal, but it was a huge challenge that they had. Now a huge percentage more of customers were getting into the app and then actually experiencing the app now with a checklist instead of being forced through. Okay. So this will allow you to map all this out. Here is the what I call the onboarding flow map. Really briefly, I have 30 seconds left to explain this. There's two types of sequences that we have in onboarding. One is the universal sequence, which is this emails go out to everyone. And then we have the triggered emails, which are based on what they do or don't do in the app. So in the universal email sequence, for example, on day 2, we have this email go out. On 5, day 9, day 12, day 14, we have these are the emails that go out. And in between then, we have these success milestone triggered emails. So if they don't add their LinkedIn account by day 3, then they get that success milestone email 1. And if they still don't do it by day 4, they get another reminder. Let me show you how to write good emails. I'll send you the presentation, but essentially there's the secret to creating really good onboarding emails is to focus on one pain, one product goal, one CTA, one target, and one author persona. Let me show you an example. Here's a good example of this. One pain. The pain is avoid double bookings and missed meetings. So this is an onboarding email, guys. It doesn't say anything about the product in here or, hey, you haven't connected your XYZ yet, your calendar yet, right? We don't start with that. We start with the benefit and escape from the hell that they're in. Yes, I want to avoid double bookings and missed meetings for good. How do I do that? Well, if you've ever had double booked meetings or missed calls, you know how embarrassing and frustrating it is. I'm going to dig in the knife in a little bit. Those days are over. With Blab, you can connect all your online calendars, so you'll never have to worry about scheduling meetings when you aren't available or double booking. Blab works with all these calendars. So, all right, so I built up this pain. What is the solution? Now, how do I get out of it? Avoid double bookings by connecting your calendar. And I don't say connect your calendar here. I just say you can connect multiple calendars to your Blab page if you choose to upgrade your free account. Avoid double bookings and schedule meetings during your personal time. It doesn't say anything about connecting your calendar, but when they log in when they click on that link, it goes right into the app and it says, hey, let's help you connect your calendar with an onboarding flow. Here's a few more emails too. Here's the onboarding step-by-step. You map out your path to first value, which is what we talked about. What are the triggers? Onboard hack, create a checklist, an in-app checklist. What are the 5 to 7 steps they need to do to have success with the product? Map out your universal onboarding flow, map out the triggers, write the emails, and then create any walkthroughs for complicated onboarding steps. Things that are really hard to do, create a walkthrough, and then give them the option of going through it. Like when you click on this link here, avoid double bookings, you can have it go to a walkthrough that says, hey, welcome. Let's help you set up your calendar. And that just walks you through step by step. Click here to do this. add your calendar here. Click here to do that. And then when you finish the walkthrough, it's done. And then it says, congratulations, you've connected your calendar. All right, I'm gonna skip this. This is really helpful too. If you have a bunch of pages in your site and you're like, I wish I could show my users how to use these pages. Just have a little message up there that says, watch page tour here, watch settings tour, watch calendar tour. It says, welcome to your settings page. This 2-minute video will show you on your settings page so you can get the most out of your account. So each page of your site has a little video to show them how to use it. Here's get user flow. And these are some tools that you can use to get that fixed. And let's see, and that's it. I'll leave this up so you guys can see it. Awesome. So I'll open up for any questions. First of all, I'd love to know at the end, what has been most helpful for you doing this? And then I'll answer your questions. Alex, product walkthrough and first login, get user flow. Yeah, awesome. Praise emails, Sean, great question. We call those success emails, and those are absolutely important. So I didn't talk about those because there's lots of stuff that we could cover. But yeah, if you have success moments in the app where you need to trigger and notify your user, absolutely send those out. Say congratulations, make a big deal about it too, because it helps them move forward in the app. Yeah, and those should be triggered. Those should be triggered, and don't worry about sending out multiple emails on the same day. If they get a universal email on day 4 and they also complete something on day 4, you can have 2 emails go out. This is 1 with universal, 2 which is yeah, the success email. Cool. Great.
Yeah, Anton has another question. Do you pay attention to the adaptation of the letter for the smartphone?
I'm not sure what adaptation of the letter means. Sandra, do you know what that means? Are you referring to the email?
I assume he means, do you take into consideration if it's mobile friendly, so to speak, like if it's easy to read on a mobile, I guess.
Oh yeah. Our emails don't have anything except text in it. You go back to that email that I showed you. For onboarding emails, that's it. This is it. This is the actual email that when you see in Gmail. There's no headers, there's no nothing. So it looks great on Gmail. It almost looks like a friend is sending you this email. Because everyone's sending these branded emails with like their phone number and their logo, and you're like, yeah, your friend isn't going to send you something like that. So send something that you would send to a friend of yours. It's going to help. That's something that you would send to a friend. And this is the kind of email you would send, like a really chill, personal email. Trust me, even in B2B, it's refreshing to see emails like this because people are tired of that. Kind of. Yep. Great question.
Yeah, Sean asks, did you guys test group onboardings, different business, all grouped on an onboarding call?
Yeah, that we've done that before too. It really depends on what your customers are saying, and if your customers are having a challenge and you don't have someone to do one-on-one onboarding calls with them, and your price point is lower, and you can't justify doing one-on-one calls with everyone, we actually have done that, onboarding calls. Yeah, we call them free account setup, complimentary account setup with an expert. And you hop on a call and we walk you through the whole process. And you answer questions and you help people get set up. Absolutely. You don't, you don't, it's hard to say if everyone should do it, but if you notice that your customers are having problems signing in, it's usually because the product is a challenge. Yes, concierge onboarding support, concierge onboarding call. That's great. Just the way that you position it makes it so much more valuable. I love that, Daniel. That's awesome. Sean, let me know if that answered your question. Yeah, great questions, guys.
Yeah, Sean also asks about the subject line. Should it be a summary of the email?
No, no. With subject lines, we use a strategy called hand raisers, which is we write a subject line that if we were in a group of like 1,000 people, what is something we could say to get people to raise their hand and say, yes, I have that pain or problem. So I'll go through some of these emails here. Here's a good one. Has anybody ever wasted time interviewing someone who wasn't a good fit? That's a hand raiser. If you fit that, you're going to open that email because it's a pain that you have. Another example. Ever sent an email that you regret? Another question. Like, questions are great for hand raisers because what you're doing is you're addressing a pain point that they have. And subject lines, I could teach a whole class that's on subject lines. Put some curiosity in there. And some more examples is want more visitors to your site, effortless booking for your clients, gets you paid before you deliver. Those are all like promises of a benefit that you can deliver. And you want them, when the user sees their subject line, you want them to say, yes, they're talking to me. They're speaking to me. Now, not all of them are going to speak to every single customer, but if you can speak to this one customer with the problem that they have and get them to open the email and fix it, you've won. Instead of saying something like, time to connect your this, or, new feature release subject line. Like, nobody cares about that. So that's product focused. Focus on your audience and get them. That's one strategy for subject lines, but it's probably the one that's going to take you the furthest, is get them to raise their hand and say, yes, this is a problem that I have.
Well, maybe let's talk a bit more about the emails. Like, you've talked about the subject line, but if, let's say, I have no idea what to put in my onboarding emails, where should I start?
Start with the pain. What is the pain you want to solve? And start there. So the pain we want to solve is I'll use a booking tool as an example. Double bookings is a good one, but also people not showing up for your Zoom meetings. Okay, that's a pain. Do we solve that pain? Yes, we do. How do we solve it? Through text messages. Okay, so I would start with the pain. I said, ever had a meeting attendee not show up? Boom, that's a pain, right? Everybody's experienced, and if you've experienced that, it's very painful because you've wasted a bunch of time. Then you say, a lot of people have meetings on Zoom where their attendees don't show up. Maybe that's happened to you. If it has, it's frustrating. You've wasted a bunch of time, and now you have to do follow-up. So that's why we have the SMS text blaster, right? I like to name everything because it increases the perceived value, right? With SMS text blaster, we'll send a text to your meeting attendee 10 and 15 minutes before the meeting, so they show up. In fact, we've done this test, and we know that it increases show up rates by 20 to 30%. Click, want to set it up for your account? Set it up here. And your call to action could be set up your reduce meeting no-shows here. I always like to, for the call to action, I always like to do an escape from a pain. But you can also set up your SMS text blaster here. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Sandra? Yeah, that's great. Do you have any more questions, guys? If you'd like to ask anything about onboarding, you have the chance right now. Yeah, Chris wants to get your view on video in email for first email, showing value up front. What's your take on this?
I love that. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. It depends on what's in the video, right? You know, how I would do it is I would say, I would have an email come from the CEO. This is automated, all automated, by the way. And I'll just tell you how I would do it. Made this for you, or welcome to whatever the name of your product is. Hey, Joe, notice you signed up for Blastify. I made this quick video for you to introduce you to the product. Hope you like it. Love, CEO, wherever you are. And then you introduce the product. You say, hey, Joe, so glad to have you in the tool. It's awesome. I can't wait. Here's what you're going to be able to do. Our clients love, people love this product because X, Y, Z. And you're going to love it too. Just real quick, here's what's going to happen when you log in, or here's what you need to do. Here's the checklist. If you need help, reach out here. And I'm always an email away. Let me know. That's great. Yeah. I mean, you guys, anything that you can do that's different than everyone else is doing, do it. Oh my goodness.
Do you have company?
I have my son. He just bought web shooters at Target. He's been saving for him. We've been having him do chores all around the house. He finally got them, so he's like on cloud 9 right now. We'll do some web shooting later.
Okay, Richard asks, what are the best days and the best time to send out text and sequence of second and third email?
Best day and time to send out text and sequence of second and third email. There really is, man, it really depends. I send messages usually earlier in the morning. If your customers are in, you know, if you're based in New Jersey and your customers are in Finland, send them early morning Finland time. That's when you should send them. And I would mix it up. Send some emails late at night, because some people, believe it or not, when their kids go to bed, you're sitting on their computer just noodling around, and they're watching Netflix and they see your email. There's nobody competing for their attention at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. right? Everybody's sending emails in the morning. If you can get it in the morning when they're in business mode, that's great. But sometimes it helps to send the email out later. So switch it up. Switch it up. Don't have one specific time you send out everything. And that's the secret. Great question.
Yeah, okay. Sean also asks, he says that they do one-on-one onboardings and their customers sometimes become over-pampered. Like they become too dependent on customer success or simply lazy. And what's your advice on this?
Yeah, you know what, Sean, without knowing too much about your product, I would say there's two cases. And Sean, I think what you're really asking is, how do you get clients to onboard themselves? Is that right? Is that kind of the question you're asking? How do we get clients to onboard themselves? Well, or be less dependent on you. Set expectations. When they sign up, you say, we're going to have, or do it for them in the onboarding call. I haven't really experienced the problem of being over pampered. It's an interesting problem to have, because people know if they're buying a SaaS product that they're going to have to do something. So it might be that they're expecting you to do more than you're making promises that they expect you to deliver on. If I sign up for a SaaS product and I'm paying, you know, $50 a month, I don't expect anyone to like walk me through the whole thing. You know, if I'm paying $1,000 a month, I expect someone to kind of help me figure it out, but I also know that I'm going to put some effort in. So it sounds like the expectations are mixed. When somebody signs up, you got to say, you know, make it clear that these are the things that you're going to be able to do. It sounds like you're over-promising. That's what it sounds like. So I would look at your messaging, who you're attracting. You might even be attracting the wrong type of customer. Somebody who wants to be over-pampered probably isn't your ideal customer, right? So you either need to charge more to eliminate them and get better quality clients, or set expectations better and say, you know, $60 a month, you sign up, and if you need help, reach out to support, and everything else is automated. Triggers, the onboarding, you have videos on each page explaining the tool, you have support there to help. So
Yeah, we also.
Yeah, Sean, if I knew your product better, I'd give you more custom advice, but I'm doing the best that I can with what I have.
Yeah, we also have one more question about the emails. Chris asks, how many do you recommend in a sequence? And is there even like an optimal number?
There is no optimal number, but what I can say is that the emotional temperature of your customer is much higher when they sign up than it is 10 days later. So it's okay to send an email a day for the first 7 days or 10 days, because they have a problem that you can solve. And if you can solve it for them, it's your duty to send out emails and let them know, hey, we can solve this problem for you. We can solve this problem for you. Do you still have this problem? Log in and we can help you figure it out. Contact support. Are you stuck? Let's help you get it figured out. I want to help you solve this problem. It's all problem focused. The further away they get from that moment, from the sign up, the less likely they are to convert. It's just we've seen it over and over and over again. So that's why we build in a nurturing sequence. After they don't convert and they're just inactive, we want to nurture them back into the sales process. But we have, most of our sequences that we build are like 50 emails, but they're spread out over 6 months. Highly focused during the trial period. And then once the trial is over, we continue to like email them. We do a troubleshooting email, like, why didn't you convert? Try to figure out what happened, get feedback from them, and then we nurture them after a period of inactivity. Yeah, good question, great question, Chris.
Okay, can we send a link to a product website video in our first email, or is it better to send in the following emails? Anton asks.
I don't really, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I don't know why you would send a link to another product in the first email. Typically in the first email, what we do is we have, the format is, welcome to blank, we're so glad to have you here. Here is what you're going to be able to do with our product. Benefit, 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 benefit. Just lay it on, increase the value. Put in a few testimonials. Let them know what's coming up. Like, this is what you're going to be able to do. And then each email after that has one call to action, focuses on one pain point or one specific product or feature that you have. You absolutely have to have customers know about this specific feature. That one email is focused just on that. When it comes to nurturing and kind of like helping customers come back into the product or success gaps, it's okay to say, hey, some of our customers, after they build this form, still need to get traffic. Well, we have a great video for how you can get more traffic, help you solve this problem. So you can fill your form up or fill your web page up with new leads. And it doesn't even have to be your content. Just find a good video somewhere else and post it, but they'll attribute the value that they get back to you. So you don't even need to create the content. But for onboarding, 90% of the onboarding emails are your product. A small percentage is the success gaps. Success gaps matter most after they become a paid customer, because then they're committed and now you can start sending out more kind of content. But during the onboarding process, we send very little out that's not related to getting them to have success with our product. Thanks, guys. Your questions are great. Anton, Sean, Chris. It's really great questions, Daniel. Thank you. Sean, you are not spamming, my man. I love your questions. Cool. Sandra, you want to read that one for everyone?
Yeah, sure. Camera on or off during onboarding?
How handsome are you, Sean, on a scale from 1 to 10? I'm just kidding. I actually do. And camera definitely on. Yeah, because you'll shock people into paying attention. No, I actually prefer to have the camera on because most people don't have the camera on. I'm doing what's not normal. I'm doing what's different. And plus, to be honest with you, I kind of want to know who you are. I kind of want to know who's in the company. Like, I want to see if I'm getting emails from Sean or Anton, like I want to be able to see you. You know, like this, see all this stuff back here? This isn't all by accident. This is so you guys can see, get to know me a little bit, right? Like if I was just in a white room, there's really no context or anything, but at least you could still see me. Or if I had my video off, this would be a totally different experience for you guys. So when you do it, consider doing it on unless there's, unless you're at some kind of party or something or whatever. I would like in context, make sure it makes sense for your product, but do what everyone else isn't doing to make an impact. Okay, Arlo, I just 2 minutes, okay? I'm on a phone call right now. But I need help with the water. Okay, all right. We'll help in a little bit.
Yeah, the background really shows your character.
Yeah. And I got this bookshelf over here. You know, like I got all this fun stuff over here, and makes you look at it and go, oh, what is that? What is, where did he get that? It's just, it's fun. And it builds a relationship with people, and people buy from people that they like. And if it just gives them one more reason to buy from you than from the faceless, nameless organization that they have a choice to work with, the bigger organization. So great question, man. Awesome.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up at that. As for the surprise or the announcement I was talking about at the beginning, Aaron and I will be doing another webinar in November or December, probably. The date is still to be decided. And Aaron will be reviewing a real onboarding flow from a SaaS company. And the fun part is that you can all apply, so to speak, to have your flow reviewed during the live consulting session, if you'd like. So after the webinar, I'll be sending you emails with the link to the recording of our today's webinar. So feel free to reply to that. If you'd like to have your flow reviewed. Thank you all for joining us. Aaron, thanks for your brilliant advice. I'm looking forward to more on the next webinar.
It's been a lot of fun. I can't wait to do that hot seat. It's going to be a lot of fun for you guys to actually, this is a lot of theory. I try to put some practical stuff in here, but when we do a hot seat, you'll actually see a lot of actionable stuff that you can implement too. So it'll be really great. Thanks for coming, everyone. It's been a blast. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks once again for joining us. I hope to see you all soon again. And thank you, and bye. Bye-bye.
See everyone.